I've had a lot of thoughts about this series and thinking about where we go from here. Ironically, this man right here needs a raise. But I appreciate that we're getting an arc where essentially Hisuke and Shin are getting a training arc, but we're also seeing some of the prior villains like Hard Boiled. I haven't seen that man in a while, but I'm glad we are getting some of those old villains. Well, let me not use the word villain. Some old antagonists back in the fray, and that's something that's like, man, it's concerning because I feel like in terms of power scaling, as a story goes on, you have characters who will be stronger and stronger, and so I'm glad that the people that they're choosing to do the training arc for is Shin and Mr. Sniper himself, because I think that if it were to be Sakamoto, all of the people that they would find in jail respectfully scale to order members, which I guess would make sense in the grand scheme of things. Like, why would there not be order level members in like the bottom of the prison where like the higher criminals are? That makes sense that there would be people that strong, because there's no way that Nagamo, uh, Shishiba, Osaragi, Yatsumura, there's no way, Takamura, there's no way that they were walking around just low diffing and neg diffing people. I can't believe that to happen. But not the point. I say that to say the warden, crazy strong. And so for me, it's like, all right, so this arc, I'm excited because now it's like, who else is here? What else do we have going on? Like, how many other people? You know what I mean? Like, how many other people are going to come up with a new perspective on assassinations? That's a crazy statement to say out loud. Yeah, it's wild. It doesn't sound good at all. It don't look good either. But back to the topic at hand. Shin is really starting to come into his own. I've seen the poll for the popularity vote for Sakamoto Days, and Shin, I believe, is at number one or number two. I can't remember. The last one I saw was Shin was at number one or number two, and so people love Shin, and I get it. Shin's not in my top five like that. I'm not gonna glaze him like that. But at the same time, he does have to grow, and he does have to be able to pick. I can only imagine Shin is just gonna have telepathic abilities that's like he gonna stand on business. And I love how we are 180 chapters in to Sakamoto Days, and he's still giving out refreshing content, refreshing fight choreography, refreshing takes. It's just it doesn't feel dead or flat or reused over and over again. Sakamoto Days is really like one of them ones. The fight choreography alone is just higher echelon, and obviously these aren't normal individuals. They're clearly superhuman, but he doesn't make them seem like bigger than life. Like they can't like, well, at some point maybe we'll get there, but we've never seen them like kick away a planet. Like he grounds it to where it's digestible on like the bottom level. Like this could be a scuffle in a train station, and you throw in the ones. Like it's believable. That's the word I'll use. It's believable. None of his fights, for the most part, have looked unbelievable in the slightest, and that's one thing that I appreciate. It's a very, I'm not gonna say low fantasy, but it's controlled. And I think Shin is just one of the many ways that he's chosen to utilize that. And so for Shin, I'm really excited. But also Hisuke, him being a sniper and getting better doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe because I feel like at some point Sakamoto's crew is not going to be useful except Shin. Like Hisuke being a better sniper doesn't really make sense to me? Like I don't want to see a standoff and Hisuke's like in the back, like sniping off of Kamehate. Like we already saw that. But at the same time, I'm interested to see what he would do. Also, I want Lou back. Like she needs to be back in here. She needs to practice her drunken fish. She needs to be in the jail too. So I think it's just I think it was an opportunity to bring more than just Shin. We should have brought Lu, Hisuke, and Shin, and I feel like that would have been what was up. But I say that to say I'm really excited to see the villains and the antagonists that are sitting in that jail because, like he said, on some impel down stuff, the lower you go, the stronger, the more criminal. Like they're going to the Diddy party, like they're criminal. But Sakamoto Days does what it does best. It's gonna give us a story that's refreshing, fight choreography, grounded, and then we have to wait a week, which I despise. But nonetheless, I'm nervous for Sakamoto because now his training arc is kind of like it's not even like he's getting stronger, he's just changing his perspective. And I think that one thing that, Rion said before is that if you give an item or what did she say? She said if you give Sakamoto an object, he's going to win. He utilizes his surroundings the best. And I think that if Sakamoto turns what that old man said about gambling and changes his mentality on how to use the environment around him, that man could go from being destructive to beyond that. And so I think that like once Sakamoto reaches his this is what I like to say, his prime. I put prime in quotes because I think at some point he's going to surpass the skill set he would have had in his prime. And because of that, I think that's why I put prime in quotes because I think he's going to have a new prime unless he forgot what it took to get to prime in the first place, which makes perfect sense. If you sit down and have a family and you are like one of the most wanted people in a country span, that makes perfect sense. But the thing about it is for Sakamoto, he needs to reach his prime status because I think there are bigger fish to fry. Like I don't think Nagamo, what's the guy's name? Oki, is that his name? The dude who has the glasses who just came back, the dude who uses sound, and the gambler guy, like Shishiba too, and Osaragi. Well, Osaragi not so much, but Shishiba, yeah. But those five right there, plus Azuki, plus who else is alive on Azuki side? I'm trying to remember. Whoever else is alive on Azuki side, like that together, Prime Sakamoto is required, definitely required, because you'd have to make the argument, and this is my thing if you think that Prime Sakamoto and Nagamo were neck and neck, then you have to make the argument that Nagamo now is still getting stronger and has been stronger than Prime Sakamoto. And I think that that's interesting. That's an interesting dynamic to have. Why have characters already be stronger than what you've portrayed to be the tier, the top of the top? And so I think that's what breeds the miscommunication and confusion around chapters like the Takamura Sakamoto statement where Takamura was he was putting hands on people. And Sakamoto was like, he's stronger than when I was in the order. And everyone was like, oh, Takamura is stronger than Sakamoto. But really it was interpreted, in my opinion, I interpreted it as when I was in the order, he's stronger now than he was then. That's what I interpreted it as. And again, you'd also have to argue that like Sakamoto in the order is prime Sakamoto, and I feel like that's dangerous speculative territory. I think that's just like that's an opinion, which you're entitled to have, mind you. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I see where you're coming from, but I disagree for now until I get the concrete evidence that I desire. But Sakamoto Days is doing its thing, and I'm really thankful for that. One of these days, ooh, I got a video planned. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go through my whole entire manga collection. I'm gonna showcase my manga collection. Be prepared for that video. I don't know why I got the ninja hand sign. That video is coming out soon, and when it does, I don't have a big collection right now. Like, don't have too high expectations, but it's something. It's humble. But yeah, y'all tune in. Keep reading Sakamoto Days. Also read Don to Don as well. Stay reading. Makes you smart. Stay in the books. You hear me?